A video goes viral. Same footage, same 10 seconds, same shaky phone camera. And yet, people see entirely different events. Half the internet says, this is an obvious abuse of power. The other half says, no, this is obviously self-defense. And here's the creepy part. By the time you press play, there are already invisible forces influencing what you see, what you feel, and what seems real. If this was just a silly cat video, these differing opinions wouldn't really matter. But sometimes, these interpretations ripple outwards, shaping how we see and trust our neighbors and community members, stoking outrage, and steering who we defend and who we allow to be harmed. In this video, I'll explain 3 critical concepts to help you understand how this happens and how to strengthen your mind against these invisible influences. Before I share the first one, let me ask you something. When I say the word authority, did it feel more like leadership or control? Take a moment to notice the feeling. Now rewind 30 seconds. Earlier, I used the phrase abuse of power. That wasn't accidental. That's priming. Priming is when earlier exposure to certain ideas makes them easier for your brain to access, which subtly shifts how you interpret what comes next. In one study, researchers used a seemingly unrelated word puzzle to prime older adults with stereotypes about elderly people. Those who were primed ended up walking more slowly afterward than those who were not. This happened unconsciously. In the real world, or I should say, in the heavily curated and spun online spaces that we inhabit, priming shows up as headlines, comments, meme reactions, and more. Priming doesn't tell you what to think. It just influences which ideas you think first. A closely related concept is the framing effect. Studies have shown that when a doctor describes a treatment as having a 90% survival rate, patients are much more likely to consent than if the same treatment is described as having a 10% mortality rate. The reality is mathematically equivalent, but the way situations are framed has a big influence on our decisions. So when a viral clip is framed as officer responds to threat versus citizen targeted by authority, your brain is unconsciously influenced to see the footage differently. What details you focus on, what you ignore, what motives you infer in the people depicted, what feels threatening, what feels justified. And that shaping happens before you're even aware of it. Another invisible force shaping our perception is the halo effect, and its darker twin, the horns effect. This is where an individual is quickly lumped into the good guys or the bad guys, with us or against us, angels or demons, based on superficial signals like clothing or hairstyle. Once that happens, their actions stop being evaluated individually and are instead interpreted symbolically. Have you noticed a part of your brain paying attention to the specific words I've been using, trying to determine which team I'm on? That's the halo and horns effect in action. This is why symbols matter more than we like to admit. Other obstacles that our brains create between us and a clear perception of reality include confirmation bias, availability heuristic, anchoring bias, and hindsight bias. Hank Green does a great job breaking these down in his recent crash course series on scientific thinking. So if you want to learn about those, go check that out. Every culture has stories about unseen forces, spirits, deities, prophecies. Cognitive biases aren't evil spirits pulling our strings, but we should take them seriously. Because when millions of people react at once, often against their own best interests, it can start to feel like we're collectively possessed. And for this grand experiment in self-governance that we call democracy to work, it requires self-awareness. Self-awareness means observing the process of how your mind seeks out, encounters, and interprets information, and noticing these patterns, like priming and framing, in action. In other words, by noticing the effects of these unconscious processes, you bring them into the realm of what's conscious. granting you a new freedom to try a different path, a different interpretation. And that's a real practice, one that genuinely expands your mind. Critical thinking isn't passive armor you can put on and forget. It's an ongoing relationship with your own mental processes. It's a mental martial art form. If this video was helpful, please consider liking or sharing it. And comment and let me know which part stood out to you the most. Thank you for watching. Notice what chooses what's next.